My name is Carola Lilienthal. I've studied computer science in the 1990s and I've done some programming, project leadership. And finally, I got into the management of WPS. So these days, I'm organizing 170 programmers in our company. This is my daily job, and there's a lot of things to do, of course. If somebody is applying for a job in our company and he has even done the Advanced Level Module Domain-Driven Design, then I will probably employ him, because domain-driven design is exactly what we do in our company. And from my point of view, it's absolutely necessary for anybody to learn that. The iSAQB is an association of software architects all over Germany in the beginning, but these days we have members from other countries. The idea is to discuss a common body of knowledge, what architecture and architects should be and should do in projects, because it's so diverse. What we have, like 40 different definitions of software architecture. Until the iSAQB was founded, there was no standard what an architect should do in a software project or in a huge company, and what to learn about software architecture, what to know. Each university had their own program. Professors decided to teach this or that or that. There were like 40 different definitions of the term software architecture, and that's why we decided to do a thing like that in Germany, and it spread over Europe into the world. So this is why we gave ourselves an English name, International Software Architecture Qualification Board. And we started to have examination plans and teaching plans, what architects should learn. From my point of view, it's important to have a standard so that people understand each other. Because in this standard teaching about architecture, we learn standard terms. And when I come into a company and I talk to architects or to development teams, it's so amazing when they have had the foundation course and they use the words that has been standardized about software architecture, and I can easily talk to them. We understand each other very quickly. They know what I am talking about and vice versa. And the standardization helps so much in that topic, in that area. To understand the iSAQB and the whole organization, it's important to know that we have three parties. And the first party is the architects in the iSAQB who create the curriculum. It's work not connected with any company or anything. This is just the knowledge of experts. So standard knowledge that's put into the curriculum. Then the training providers that have to follow this curriculum and have to get their material, their training material approved against this curriculum. And then the certification organizations, certification bodies that actually organize the examination for anybody who is doing a training. And this separation into three parties is done so that we have independent parties that don't influence each other with money, or there are no dependencies between them. And by separating this into three parties, we gain a lot of quality in the process. So we really have standardized curriculums, and the material for the trainings, it's approved. They can't just teach people with whatever slides they want. And the certification is standardized as well, so it's on a high quality level as well. Having the iSAQB helps companies that all the people in a project understand each other much better. The documentation gets into some standardized form afterwards. The exchange between your different projects is much better because they all have the same language in the end. We are competing with other companies, and if we can tell someone that our colleagues have a certificate, it's much easier to compete with other companies that have never done that, you know. So I think it's important for companies too. And there's a third advantage, of course, because software developers and architects, they love to learn. And if they can do something beside their work, like a 3-day course in the iSAQB, it's something, if the company is paying that and it is giving them time, this sort of connects them closer with their company. It's as well a very good measurement to keep them in your company. The iSAQB organized the whole thing like this. There is a foundation level. Anybody has to do or should do the foundation level, a 3-day course or 4-day course with an examination afterwards. And then you have the grade of foundation level. And afterwards, you can start to do the advanced level. But for the advanced level, there is not just one module, but there are a lot of modules. And someone who wants to do the advanced level certificate needs credit points, 70 credit points, and you can collect them by visiting different modules. For example, the domain-driven design module with 30 credit points, the cloud infra module with 30 credit points as well, and maybe ArcEval, which is about architecture evaluation, which has 20 credit points. And then you have 30, 30, 20, 80 credit points, and then you can go to a certification body and ask for the certification process for the advanced level, and then you get a lot of paper where there's described a problem in the architecture, and you have 40 hours to create a paper of 20 pages to explain how you would solve as an architect this problem. So this is your task, and then someone will look at it, an expert, and ask you questions about it, and there is a little meeting where you have to defend your solution, and if this all is succeeded, you get the certificate for the advanced level. If someone has an advanced certificate, he can be proud about that. It's a lot of work. The advanced level certification is quite difficult. To create this paper about a solution for an architectural problem, it's not easy. There are many people who need more time than 40 hours, quite a lot of people who need a second chance, so take your time to do that. Everything that is taught in the iSAQB is not pure theoretical. To answer the questions in the foundation examination, it's better to have some experience. With the foundation level, you're very well prepared to work in a company, to find your place. If you want to become an architect, if this is your career plan in the end, if structures of systems, if all that is your interest, then you should start to do the advanced level. You need some experience to really discuss with other architects in a training. You can't do that if you have just programmed what is done at the university. So this is really something that you can do alongside with your daily work in your company, but you shouldn't do it the advanced level right in the beginning of your life as a software developer. This is a bit too early. I think for any architect or developer that starts the advanced level, the main focus is on knowledge. You know, I want to learn about cloud infrastructure. I want to learn about flexible architectures, about domain-driven design, whatever. There are a lot of modules, so they can choose their subjects and learn. But if they go on trainings with other architects from other companies, it's as well a possibility to learn from other companies, and there they can discuss in small groups about their problems, and they can start to do networking as well. It's always good to know different perspectives on problems, to know how other companies find solutions for problems. So I think it's a lot more than just knowledge. It's networking, it's getting to know other perspectives. This is really something companies should want for their employees from my point of view. Domain-driven design helps people to create software that really is connected with the domain, with what the users need in their system afterwards. So there is a huge focus on user-centric development, and a lot of software developers and architects come from a technical point of view. And domain-driven design comes from a different angle, and it's so important to help people to open their mind, to get a bit away from this technical stuff. It's so important to create really good software that somebody will use and will love to use. You will learn the basic idea. We always have examples in these 3 days so that people can try to do it themselves. And we use examples that don't come from the domain where they work in, so that they are not mixed up in their own company and their own story, but separated from it. So they do it on an example that they don't know before, and they have to read some user stories, what user needs, and then they have to create this ubiquitous language, this common language, and try to transform that into a software system, and try to structure the software system in a way that follows the domain as well. So they learn with a small example all steps in this approach, and then try out on an example. This is, from my point of view anyway, the only way how to teach people something. If you teach them in a little course and then you let them do it. And after these 3 days, people know what domain-driven design is all about, but like with any other knowledge, it takes time to be able to do it yourself. So after a 3-day course, you understand what domain-driven design is about, but from my point of view, you can't just do it right away in a wonderful version. You know, you have to gain experience with that and try out. I mean, if you look at the credit points of the DDD module, you have 10 for communication and 20 for method. But it's about how to find out most about the requirements that the user has, and from what I think as well, how to digitalize them into something new and really helpful. It's to think about what the user is doing, how he is doing it, to really find out what he needs. And very often it looks absolutely different from what they've done before, you know? So it's about requirement engineering, communication with the users. What can we do to find out what they need? And then to transform that into software that is as well constructed, following the domain and following the language of the domain. This is very important. I mean, you have this inside of your model. You have modeled the real thing into your software. This is very different just from the idea how you do it, you know. I'm careful with the word methodology, because when I talk to Eric Evans and Ron Vernon, they refuse to call domain-driven design a method. So I wouldn't do that. So approach is a fine word, but method is not what the original inventors thought that they would call their thing. So I don't do that, you know. Of course, you cannot construct any software if you don't know what the user basically needs, you know. So domain-driven design amplifies different things. The main goal is to create software that the user really helps, you know, that really helps them do their work and doesn't stand in the way all the time, and they have to create a lot of workarounds to do what they want to do, you know. That's the main goal. And to have a common language between what the users are talking about, their daily language, and the language that is used in the source code. This is why I always say I want to find the concepts of the domain in the software. And then the connection between a problem that the user has with my software and the software is much closer, much quicker done, and I can much quicker change something in the software. This is one of the main goals of domain-driven design, to be quicker in software development, to get a better outcome, and to have something that is much easier to change because it's so related with the domain. I'm deeply into the topics of architecture and domain-driven design, which is what related me as well with the iSAQB, with this theme of architecture, discussing architecture, having good architectures. I was one of the people who started the curriculum for DDD. We did it a long time already in our company, and then I thought we need that in the iSAQB, and I started to write the curriculum with some colleagues. We have redone the curriculum several times since then, and I ask people that I know who are in DDD to come together, look at the curriculum and change things and discuss things. And this is really great because we get to discuss our ideas, and then we get this all together in the curriculum. So it's actually a lot of fun, and to have this exchange and to discuss our topic that we like the most. So it's really wonderful that we can do that in this organized way in the iSAQB. It's cool. Well, my hard topic was always architecture. To have a good architecture for your system, to structure it well, to give people guidance. In the end of 1990, they started to create this iSAQB association. I took part in it. I was lucky to be there on some conference when someone started to talk about it. And that's why I've been there from the beginning. And I enjoyed so much to have some exchange with all these other architects and give my knowledge to younger ones. And I'm so happy that we finally organized all these exam plans, how people could learn about different aspects of architecture. So trying to give my best so that the newest things come across to younger software developers, and as well to older ones that want to keep on learning during their daily work. In between the foundation level and the advanced level, you can do a lot of things in the iSAQB. One thing is to go to the annual conference, which is called Software Architecture Gathering, and you have to gather, to be a good architect, to discuss all the concepts, to get new ideas, to learn something from experts. So these conferences are a good moment to meet and discuss things. In several cities, there are meetups of the iSAQB where you can discuss there with architects, learn things very locally in your hometown, and you can as well engage yourself. So we love to have young software developers or architects in our association to get them to work with us. There's a lot of things young developers can start to do and start to engage with the iSAQB.